1. Introduction. My name is Bella, and I am 18 years old. I am a college student. My life was quite simple before. I lived with my mother in a small, comfortable house. I focused on my studies and spent time with my closest friends. My mother worked very hard to provide for us, and she was always a strong and caring woman. She always wanted the very best for my future. Then my mother met a man named Robert. He was a kind person, and he had a good job. Most importantly, he made my mother very happy. They fell in love, and after some time, they decided to get married. This news brought a big change. I was happy for my mother, but I also felt a little nervous about how my own life would change. Robert lived in a large, beautiful house. It had many rooms and a big garden, which was very different from our old home. When my mother and Robert got married, we moved into his house. It was a completely new start for all of us. My mother was very excited about our new family life. I tried my best to share her excitement. Moving meant packing all my belongings and saying goodbye to my familiar room and neighborhood. In Robert's house, I met my new stepbrother. His name was Tim. He was 20 years old. It was a surprise to learn that he also attended the same college as me. I did not know much about him before this. Tim was a tall young man with dark hair and quiet eyes. When we first met, he offered a polite smile, and I returned it. It felt a bit strange to suddenly have a stepbrother living in the same house. I wanted our new family to be successful and feel normal. To help this happen, I decided to keep a polite distance from Tim. I believed this was the best approach. If we became too close, I worried things might become complicated or difficult. I wanted to respect him as my new stepbrother, and I hoped he would respect me too. We would now share a home and attend the same college, so having clear rules felt very important. My plan was for us to be a happy, blended family. My mother and Robert would be happy together. Tim and I would be polite to each other, like housemates, but not become too close. We would share meals and have casual conversations. However, I wanted to keep my own personal space, and he would have his. I hoped this plan would help create a peaceful and stable environment. I wanted this new house to truly feel like my own home, a place of comfort and normal life. I firmly believed that keeping a polite distance was the key to a normal family life. 2. A different look. Every day felt a little different now. I saw Tim often. In the mornings, he was in the kitchen when I came down for breakfast. He would be there, sometimes quietly eating, sometimes just looking at something. After breakfast, we both went to college. The college was big, but it seemed like Tim was always nearby. I would see him in the hallways between classes. Sometimes he would be outside my classroom when I came out. I also saw him in the common areas, like the library or the student lounge. He was just always around. At home, it was the same. If I went to the garden, he might be there. If I sat on the sofa in the living room, he often came and sat near me. Not too close, but closer than a stepbrother usually sits. This constant presence started to make me feel a little strange. It was like he was watching me, even when he wasn't directly looking. Then I started to notice how he looked at me. It was not a normal look. It was not how a brother looks at his sister. His eyes were soft. They held a different kind of feeling. Sometimes they seemed almost romantic. This made me feel uncomfortable deep inside. It was a new feeling, and I did not like it. I tried to ignore it. I told myself, maybe I am imagining things. We were a new family, and maybe I was just not used to it. I thought perhaps I was just being sensitive. But his behavior did not stop. The looks continued. The close presence continued. At college, he would walk slower if he saw me, so we would be in the same hallway. At home, he would often find a reason to be in the same room. I tried to be polite, as I always did. I smiled a little and I said hello. But every time I felt a small shiver. The feeling of his gaze stayed with me. It was not a comfortable feeling. It was a feeling that something was not quite right. I could not shake it. It made me feel uneasy. I wanted to believe it was nothing, but my mind kept returning to his different look, his soft eyes, and his constant nearness. It was becoming harder and harder to ignore. 3. A visitor in the night. One night, everything felt different. It was very late, perhaps around 2 in the morning. I was sleeping peacefully, but then I woke up suddenly. A strange feeling came over me. I felt like I was not alone in my room. My heart started to beat very fast. It was a scary feeling. I slowly opened my eyes. The room was dark, but I could see a tall shape near my bed. My eyes focused in the dim light. It was a person standing very still. My breath stopped. It was Tim. He was standing there, very quiet, looking at me. He was watching me sleep. A shiver went through me. Fear filled me. I quickly reached for my bedside lamp and turned on the light. The sudden brightness made him jump back a little. "What are you doing here?" I asked him loudly. My voice shook, but I tried to sound strong. I could not believe what I saw. Tim looked surprised, almost caught. His face turned red. He did not speak for a moment. Then he looked down. When he looked up again, his eyes were sad. He spoke very softly, almost a whisper. "I like you, Bella," he said. "Please do not tell my father." I could not move. I was frozen in my bed. My stepbrother, Tim, liked me. This was not right. We were family. He was my stepbrother. These feelings were wrong. I looked at him directly. "Tim, this is not good," I told him. "I do not like you in that way. We are family now. This is wrong, and it makes me very uncomfortable." He looked even sadder. "I am truly sorry," he said again. "Please, just do not say anything to anyone." He kept looking at me, begging with his eyes. I just wanted him to go. I felt very uncomfortable, scared, and confused. I slowly nodded my head, wanting the conversation to end. He turned around slowly and walked out of my room. The door closed quietly behind him. I was left alone in the bright room. My heart was still beating fast. I could not sleep again that night. The image of him standing there, watching me, stayed in my mind. It was a terrible feeling. I knew I could not just forget this frightening visit. A bad discovery. Days passed slowly after that night. I tried to act normal, but a strange feeling never left me. I felt like someone watched me all the time. It was a bad feeling, like cold air on my skin. I could not forget Tim standing by my bed. His words, "I like you," played again and again in my mind. I knew his feelings were wrong, but he did not seem to understand. I started to close my door more often, and I always checked that it was locked before sleeping. One afternoon, I decided to clean my room. I wanted to make it feel fresh and new. I moved my books from the shelf. Behind a big book, I saw something small and black. My heart started to beat very fast. It was a camera. A very small camera, hidden carefully. My hands shook as I picked it up. How long had it been there? Who put it there? A cold fear filled me. I looked around my room. Every corner, every space felt different now. I started to search. My fingers went under my bed. I looked behind my clothes in the closet. My eyes scanned the walls. And then I found two more. One was in my bathroom, hidden near the mirror. The other was under a small table next to my bed. 3 cameras. My private spaces were not private anymore. Someone had watched me in my own room, in my own bathroom. My mind went to Tim. It had to be him. I remembered his strange looks, his presence near me. I thought about the night he was in my room. This was much worse. I felt sick. I knew I needed more proof. I needed to know the truth. I waited until everyone was out of the house. Then I went into Tim's room. My hands were shaking, but I had to do this. I found his laptop on his desk. I opened it. It was not locked. I looked through his files. My eyes stopped on a folder. It was named with a strange code. I clicked on it. Inside, there were hundreds of pictures, hundreds of secret photos of me. I saw photos of me sleeping in my bed. I saw photos of me getting dressed. There were photos of me eating breakfast, reading a book, talking on the phone. My face was in every picture. My stomach turned. It was Tim. He had taken these pictures. He had watched me for a long time. The bad feeling of being watched was real. It was not just a feeling. It was Tim. 5, a lonely feeling. After finding the cameras and seeing the secret photos, a strong fear filled me. My heart beat very fast. I knew I needed help, so I ran to my mother. She was my mother, and I believed she would protect me. I held one of the small black cameras in my trembling hand, tears already in my eyes. I found my mother in the living room. I went straight to her, my voice shaking. "Mom, look what I found." I held out the camera for her to see. My mother looked at the camera, then at my face. She looked nervous. "Bella, what is this?" she asked. I tried to explain everything. I told her about Tim watching me. I told her about the hidden cameras in my room and bathroom. I told her about the hundreds of secret pictures on Tim's laptop. I cried as I spoke, hoping she would understand my fear and pain. But my mother did not react how I expected. She did not hug me or say she would help. Instead, she spoke quietly. "Bella, calm down. Are you sure? Maybe you are imagining things." I was shocked. "Imagining things? Mom, I have the camera right here. I saw the pictures." She took my hand. "Listen to me," she said. "This is very serious. If we talk about this, people will gossip. What will Robert think? I don't want to make him angry. I don't want to break our new family." My mother wanted me to ignore it. She wanted me to forget that my stepbrother had been watching me, taking secret pictures. She wanted me to act like nothing had happened. Her words made my heart feel heavy. I felt a terrible betrayal. My own mother was telling me to keep quiet. I felt completely alone. There was no one to help me. No one to believe me. My mother was more worried about what others would say or about keeping her new husband happy than about my safety. The house, my new home, now felt dangerous. I knew I could not sleep in my room anymore. The thought of Tim watching me made me shiver. I felt isolated, with no support from my own mother. It was a very lonely feeling. 6, telling the truth. After my mother's words, I felt completely alone. She would not help me. She cared more about her new marriage. This made my path clear. I had to be strong for myself. Only one person was left to tell the truth: Robert, Tim's father. The next morning, I woke up with a heavy feeling. My heart beat quickly. I knew I had to speak to him. I took a deep breath and walked to the living room. Robert was reading his newspaper. He looked up and smiled. His smile made it harder, but I pushed fear away. "Robert," I began, my voice shaky, "I need to talk to you. It's very important. It's about Tim." He folded his newspaper. His face changed to concern. He looked ready to listen. "What is it, Bella?" he asked softly. I sat down across from him. I held the small camera. I started to tell him everything. I spoke about Tim's strange looks and him being in my room that night. I told him about the cameras I found. My voice was quiet but clear. Robert listened without a word. His face showed surprise, then confusion. He looked at the camera. "Cameras?" he finally said, his voice quiet. "Where did you find this?" I explained about the first camera on my bookshelf, then about the others hidden in my private spaces. My hands trembled. "And there's more," I continued. "I found something on Tim's laptop, hundreds of secret photos of me." Robert stood up slowly. His face was no longer kind. It was serious and pale. his eyes fixed on mine. "Photos," he repeated, his voice firm. "Show me, Bella, show me everything." I led him to Tim's room. We found Tim's laptop. I opened it and found the hidden folder. I clicked on it. The screen filled with images. Pictures of me sleeping, reading, being in my room. Robert looked at the screen. His eyes grew wide with shock. His jaw tightened. He could not believe it. He shook his head slowly. But the proof was there. His expression changed fast. Disbelief turned into cold anger. His hands tightened into fists. He looked at the screen, then at me. The kindness was gone, replaced by a hard, stern look. He understood. The truth was out. 7, a hard lesson. Robert stood in the living room holding the cameras and Tim's laptop. His face was very angry. Tim stood before him, looking down. "Tim, explain this now," Robert demanded. His voice was low. Tim looked up. He tried to smile. "Dad, it's just a joke. I was playing." He looked at Bella, but she stayed still. Robert did not believe him. He opened the laptop. Hundreds of Bella's pictures filled the screen. Pictures taken secretly. Of her sleeping in her room, the evidence was clear. It was not a joke. Robert's face turned red. His hands shook with anger. He had never been so angry. He looked at Tim, full of rage. "A joke?" Robert shouted. "This is not a joke, Tim. This is very wrong." He threw the cameras and laptop onto a table. The sound was loud. "You cannot live here anymore," Robert told Tim. His voice was firm. "Pack your things. You must leave tonight." Tim's eyes grew wide. He started to cry. "Dad, please, where will I go? I'm sorry." He tried to talk to Bella, but Bella turned away. She could not look at him. He had broken her trust. She felt no pity, only the fear he had caused. Robert repeated, "Leave, Tim. You have 1 hour to pack, then you must go." Tim knew his father was serious. He slowly walked to his room. Bella heard him packing. Soon he came back with a bag. His face was wet. He walked out the front door. The house felt different at once. A heavy feeling lifted. It was quieter, safer. Bella took a deep breath. Robert turned to Bella. His anger was gone. "Bella, I am so sorry," he said. "This will not happen again. I will protect you." Bella looked at him. She felt relief. For the first time, she felt believed and protected. This was a hard lesson, but a necessary one. 8, a new start. After Tim left, the house felt different. It was quiet, and the heavy feeling was gone. A sense of peace filled the rooms. I could finally relax and breathe easily. The constant fear that had been with me for weeks slowly left my mind. The house felt safe again, truly safe, for the first time in a long time. Robert came to me a few days later. He looked sad, but also very serious. He said, "Bella, I am so sorry for everything that happened." I did not know what Tim was doing. "I promise you, this will never happen again. I will always protect you." His words were very important to me. They made me feel strong and validated. I felt that someone finally believed me completely. I was not alone anymore. Robert's support was a great comfort and a big help in moving forward. My mother also changed over time. At first, she was quiet and looked worried. She did not talk much about what happened, but slowly her attitude softened. She started to talk to me more, asking about my day at college and listening to my answers. She cooked my favorite meals and showed me small acts of care. It took time, but her heart seemed to soften. She understood that I was hurt and that she had made a mistake by not believing me earlier. Our relationship slowly began to heal, step by step. This whole experience was difficult, but it taught me many important things. The most important lesson was to trust my own feelings. If something feels wrong, it probably is wrong. I learned to listen to my inner voice, even when it was quiet. I also learned that I must stand up for myself, even when it is hard, and even when others do not believe me at first. My voice matters. I have the right to be safe, and I have the right to be heard. I am stronger now. I know I can face hard times and protect myself. This was a new beginning for me, a new start. I could look forward to my future with hope, knowing I had the strength to overcome challenges. I learned to trust myself more than ever before.